And I mean, you know me, we just gonna vibe.
Yep.
So we are back, man. It's another episode of Klyph Notes with your guy DJ Klyph. Remember, you can catch the Klyph Notes episodes of Klyph Notes everywhere you listen to podcasts, man. iTunes, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher. I don't know, wherever you listen to podcasts, you can check it out. We've done some great interviews thus far. There's a bunch of great conversations that we've had out there. Shout out to X-Ray FM. You can catch me on X-Ray every Saturday night from 8 to 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, featuring a bunch of local artists and underrepresented artists on X-Ray. 107.1 FM and 91.1 FM in the Portland metro area. Also now 99.9 FM in Vancouver, Washington, and then streaming online everywhere at xray.fm. And of course, you can just stay up at the website www.djklyph.com. Also, check out my man DJ OG1's GoFundMe. If you go to GoFundMe, DJ OG, the number one, there's a lot of great information there on what he's been dealing with recently, and we have a ton of community support. So I want to encourage everybody out there to go and continue to support my guy, DJ OG1. Today's interview is one that is, I say this often, and it's just because I've had an opportunity to connect with so many great people here in Portland. But this one truly is a long time coming. This young lady and I have built up a great relationship over a short time, and we've talked about just sitting down because I find her story to be so interesting, and now we finally have time to do that. So without any further ado, let them know who you are.
Hey everybody, it's Renee, Miss Lopez Media. Hey.
That's what's up. How you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm really good, man. I'm really, really good.
We have a question. Can we cuss on this?
It's a podcast,
Okay.
so be free. You know me, man. Be free.
Carmen and I did a podcast and we were like, yeah.
I could see that being a little scary.
Mm-hmm.
What podcast was that?
It was Hot Garbage.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
that
what's up.
was
That's what's up. It's available now.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So y'all go check out my girl and hear more of her story.
Yes.
It's crazy because I was thinking about like how we first got, like how where we first met, how we first connected, and it's just been a real cool journey because from the time we first met through now, I feel like you know, you just fam, which is dope.
Yeah.
But we first met, you came through the radio show with, I remember who you came through
It was
with.
Glenn and Mike.
Oh, that's who it was?
Yeah, and I
Okay.
was so
Okay.
embarrassed and nervous. Like, deer in the headlights.
I do remember that because I kept trying to get you to talk on the air, and
and
you
I
was
was
like, I
yeah.
ain't got nothing to say.
Yes.
But that was you were doing stuff with We Out Here,
Yes.
and
I think I just started doing stuff for We Out Here.
okay,
Yeah, and just documenting the Portland hip hop scene.
yeah,
I became really good friends with Glenn. You know, he's like one of my best friends. So him and Capes I think they were promoting We Take Holocene or something.
I feel like it
Yeah.
was around that. It was around We Take Holocene.
Yeah.
And they're about to do We Take Holocene 4 now, I think.
I think it's
Or is it 5?
I think it's 5.
Oh, Lord.
Crazy. I know. How?
I know, right? It's just another example though of just what's happened to
Yeah.
this local scene. The ebbs and flows and really how great things are right now. But you've had an opportunity to see the good and the bad
Yes.
of it, and have been able to document that.
Yeah.
So we should probably, just in case people aren't super familiar, you mentioned Miss Lopez Media. In terms of documenting, let people know what you do.
Basically for the last 2.5, maybe it's been 2.5 years now. Gosh. I've been just photographing the Portland hip hop scene. So just I was going to like a show night almost, it seemed like, just because I wanted to practice shooting and like, because live photography is really hard. But I love it because it's very challenging. And so I just go photograph my homies, Vinny Duane, Glenn Waco, Mike Capes, Rashid Jamal, all those people, just like, just capturing what they're doing. And then it's been like, it went from like, smaller shows, smaller venues, and only certain venues, to now it's like they're doing huge shows, different venues that you would never even see hip hop scene in before, like Ron Tom's, where they do that Sunday night sessions. Yeah, so just I don't know, just photographing them doing their things.
So a couple of interesting things in my day job. I've run across two individuals in particular who, one young lady was in high school when I first met her, and had a desire to does photography as a hobby, learning in school, and then wants to do it as a career. And shout out to my girl Madison. I can never say her last name, but she did Girl Fest Northwest.
Yes. Oh yeah, yeah.
A couple. I don't think it was this past one. I think it was the year before. I connected this young lady with her, and she was like, "Yeah, have her come on through." And it was great to be in that position to connect the dots. And it was the first time that this young lady had an opportunity to do photography at a live event, and that's her ultimate goal. She wants to do tours and that kind of thing with artists. And then another young lady who I've recently met who does photography kind of as a side gig. My point with all that is, like, there's a number of people who want to do what you're doing. How did that even start? Like, was it just because you knew some of these artists? And
I think it started from my passion for music. I love music. Like, I love it so much. It's like my number one love besides my daughters. So it's like I wanted to be involved in music, but I didn't know how. I don't sing, I don't rap. So I was like, how can I be involved in the scene? And I was like, I can photograph it. So that's kind of where it really started. Is like, I love to watch artists on stage like do their thing and capture them doing that, and then just being involved in the whole scene of like being behind the scenes, like getting to see what happens behind the scenes, like watching the crowd get into it, all that. It's like that passion, and that's my passion, is like to watch them. And then like I just love live music. That's my favorite kind of thing to photograph.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
Is there an artist, a Portland artist? Because we're going to talk about the fact that you've done stuff not just in Portland, outside of Portland as well. But is there a Portland artist that you've yet to be able to cover live?
Oh man.
Because I feel like you've probably shot. Everybody who's performing, I feel like you've shot.
Yeah, I think so. Mainly because of the thesis. So I probably have shot every artist ever, almost. Like, I can't think of any. I wish somebody could like call in, because you haven't shot me, because right. I think I've shot everybody at least once.
That's what's up. And it's great to see your work. You know, if people follow you or follow the local scene on social media, we get an opportunity to see a lot of your work, which is really cool. But maybe for folk who aren't necessarily connected with the scene on social media, just recently they've had an opportunity to see your work, because and it's crazy because you and I talked about it. It's like, this is something you really want to do, and then it kind of happened where you had your first gallery show. Yeah. So talk about that. Like, talk about that whole process.
Oh man, I honestly, when I started this whole thing, I didn't even that wasn't even my mind. I remember talking to my mom about this. We talked about how like I sat down with her a year ago, and I'm gonna do this and this and this with my photography. But that was something that like it started with Donovan and I were gonna do something together in a gallery, and then the gallery space just fell through that what we wanted to do. And then I told Andre Milton, I'm like, hey, I don't know, I like want to do this gallery show, but I don't have a space. And he was like, I'm gonna get you a space. And then it came together. He just knew somebody like down the street from PCM, and then the lady saw my work, and she was like, yes, I'd love to have her in there. And that was huge. Yeah. That opened so many doors, because I think people kind of always saw things here and there, but like to be able to see it all on the wall together was just like, and for me to see it on the wall, I look at it on a screen or a phone all day, so to be able to print it out and look at it was just amazing. And like it just opened a lot of doors for me. I had so many people come through that I've never met before. So that was like a huge goal, or I don't know. I can't. It was just amazing. And I had a lot of like women of color, because I had this women of color project that came in, and they cried because they just felt so welcomed in that space. And they're like, these women are representing me, and they're on the wall, and I see myself in these women. And I was like, oh my gosh. So that was just like, for me, it just was like, it just made me feel so good. But it was like, I like felt so humbled, and like that I could do that for women, and it was like all people of color. And I don't know if that's ever happened in Portland, and me being a woman of color and being able to have that gallery space. Yeah, I think that was huge.
The Women of Color project, that I remember when I started seeing that, and it seemed like it was something that happened very organically, probably because, like you mentioned, you are a woman of color. But is that really what happened? Was it just something that happened organically? Was that
That for
Did it come
me,
out of a conversation or?
that happened because for me, I didn't. It was like I just didn't see enough of that in Portland. We are in the whitest city in America, so for me, it was like to unite women, but also it's been a really healing project for myself because I didn't really have a lot of black and brown folks around me until like recently in the last 2 years, and that's really changed. And so for me to just like bring women together and show them that we're beautiful the way we are and all of that was just like healing, not only for I think them but also for me. And just like I think each of those women, like giving them a picture that they love themselves is really great too. And my photos are pretty like natural. I don't really do too much editing. I keep it pretty natural because I like it that way. I feel like I'm an OG in that way with my photography because I do very like a lot of natural lighting. I don't do like Photoshop or anything. I like it to be pretty just organically the way that they are.
Yeah,
So
yeah. As a photographer, is there a style that you say that you have? Is that something that you think about, something you're working towards?
I think I love to do portraits. It's like that portrait style, so it's kind of almost a headshot, but a little bit more maybe. And then and then live music. But I was told a lot during the gallery that I just I can capture people and who they really are, and I love that because it's like my photography. I feel like when I'm shooting someone, I want to, it's like I talk to them and try to like just learn who they are, and then I get them to laugh or something, and I capture that moment, and it's like that's my favorite thing is just like capturing who they really are. So I would say that is like I just capture the person and who they are.
Yeah. It's funny because there's a photo that you took of Portland artist Mike Capes, and it's interesting because when you see Mike perform, when you listen to his music, he's so passionate, and it all comes through both with his both audibly and visually when you see him on stage, and even in interviews to a certain degree, where you feel that Mike is he's an intellectual, but he can also come across as a bit intense. And the photo that you there was a couple of them that you captured of him where you could really see. You could see Mike's humor just in a still photo.
He's so funny. Really cool. He's a really funny guy. Yeah, I've definitely heard that from people. They're like, he's so intense. Like they were like, I don't think he likes me. And I'm like, you know what? I remember that when I first met Mike. I was like, yo, you're so serious. And I'm like such a silly person. But I definitely like once I got to know Mike, and now we're really good friends. It's like I think you have to get people's trust too when you're photographing them because I get nervous. I don't like to be on the other side of the camera, so it's like gaining their trust and then getting them to open up. And sometimes like with a girl I just shot recently, she's a dancer, I had her dance, and wow, like when she started dancing, she just like boom, I was like, there you are. She opened up. So it's like trying to figure out how to open up, gain their trust, and then get them to open up and really show who they are. But one thing with my kids too was so cute. My daughter was with me, Bailey, and he was like, Bailey, make me laugh. And so she started doing something, and he was like dying laughing, and then I got it, and I was like, yes. So she was helpful in that way with like getting him to laugh and stuff because he's like, I'm always so serious. So
that's gotta feel good too to be able to have your family as a part of what you're doing.
Yeah. And then just like I feel like Mike and Glenn and Rashid are like my brothers. So they're those three I met them when they were super young, and like to see them grow has been amazing too. So
is there a thing that you've seen through the lens, and when I say through the lens I mean because of the work that you've done with photography so far, that has surprised you about yourself, but then also about being a photographer in Portland? Maybe something that you've seen now again through the lens that you didn't see prior to.
I would say the unity, just like really understanding that we have to come together. And I think once we realize that, like we just like the city can't take no. We don't take no for an answer. It's like you don't have a choice anymore. And one of my most memorable moments was like at Ron Tom's, because I had never seen a hip hop show in there, and that's like a very well known like hipstery place. And so when it was like Mike Capes, Roby, Dante, Rashid, they all just came and they just killed it. And it was like so much unity, and it was like packed out, and they were so supportive of each other. And I just was like, this is such a beautiful moment to see, because I had never really seen that before in Portland, and I felt like I was just like, yes, that we made history that night. I felt like
It's I had an opportunity to do an interview, actually the previous podcast with Tope, and one of the things that he mentioned was he's from an artist standpoint, the fact that now the Portland hip hop scene is being captured. That there's so much that happened in Portland. He mentioned Pohop as an example. So many great performances and years of it, and it wasn't really captured.
Yeah.
And now you have that. Now you, whenever you go to a show now, you see a couple different people in there with cameras capturing that. And now you're creating that history, or you're leaving that history for for the future.
It's cool. I feel like I've opened some doors. Definitely, especially for women photographers, because to be a woman photographer in hip hop scene is always interesting as well.
Yeah.
But I just didn't take no for an answer as well, and I just like really pushed. I was like, I felt like there's some walls that I pushed through. I was like, nope, I'm not gonna let that stop me. And so yeah, I think I love that it's being documented now. It needs to be, because it wasn't being documented before. So it's like history. If you go through my Flickr, Verbs was like, Renee, you literally have 2 years of Portland hip hop like documented, and I was like, yeah, it's true. It's crazy.
Yeah. Do you have a I don't even know if you've thought about it this way, but some form aside from the digital mediums that we have, which we all use. I mean, that's sort of where we're at now. But doing something more than that with all of this history that you have, or is that maybe something you'll revisit down the road?
I think that would be something down the road that I would love to do, is like print out from beginning to end, like, the hip hop scene, or put a book. I put a couple of like books together, but to put like a book together too would be cool, to just like, so people can be like, whoa, they can go through it and look at how it's changed. But that's something I would love to do down the road.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's, I say down the road because you're kind of a busy person right now.
Oh my gosh.
So you've been shooting the thesis since the beginning?
Not since the beginning. How long have I been doing the thesis now? So I know my birthday's coming up, and last year, when did I even start doing the thesis?
Because
at least a year, I know that.
Okay.
But it has to be longer than that. Maybe almost 2 years.
Okay.
Gosh.
And then, and that's the thesis is a monthly event that happens in Portland.
Yes.
Right now, it happens at Keller's Olympian every first Thursday of the month, and they've had some pretty amazing lineups.
Yeah.
It's cool to see the artists who have gone through, both local but then also regional artists who've done a thesis. So you're doing that every first Thursday.
Yes.
You're also the photographer for Mic Check, which happens every last Thursday of the month at the White Eagle in Portland. So there again, in those places where live hip hop, Portland hip hop is happening, you're capturing all of that and sharing that with the world. You're kind of busy.
That's then, like not even half.
Right. And then
so I do YGB. But now
that's right.
we're kind of, we've been a little bit on a hiatus because we've been planning and plotting. But we have our 2 year that's coming up in July. I'm like, how is it 2 years already? Yeah. And I have almost been doing YGB from the beginning as well. So documenting people of color, basically. A people of color party basically for the last 2 years through like photo booths basically is what I would set up. But so that
Okay.
What else?
So and then the women of color, I wanted to talk a little bit more about it because I think it's something that it is unique when you get an opportunity to see a lot of the photos that represent that project. The cool thing is that there are a lot of photos of individuals in different spaces. The way that you capture folk in their spaces, I think, is really cool. A lot of group photos, and I think it's cool to see a group of women of color together. Again, in spaces, not necessarily in a
I love to shoot outside.
Yeah,
that's my big. Yeah, I love to use natural lighting, and you can just play with all kinds of lighting. If it's cloudy, you can get like different shots, sunny, and then just like I love different backdrops. So like whatever, and Portland's beautiful. So there's just all kinds of different scenes you can use: city, industrial, forest, like rose gardens. Like, you know, it's crazy. You can go to the river, you can go ocean. So yeah, that's like, I love to shoot. Like, if you want me to get real hyped on a like, well, we got to go outside.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
sometimes it's hard, you know, during the winter because
Right.
it's rainy. But
Right.
yeah.
Have you surprised yourself yet when maybe you've done a photo shoot,
You know,
and you've come back and looked at what you captured?
yeah, I think even just just this last thesis, I learned something. I'm like, oh, I learned how to. I feel like I learned something every time I shoot, how to do something a little bit better, and it was like something I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do that before? You know, so that's like one of my favorite things about photography, is that I don't think you could ever stop learning.
Yeah.
You could just, there's so many things you can do. So that, and if I get bored or I don't feel challenged, and I'm like, so I think that's why I've stuck with it for so long, because I used to always be like, start something and be like, so yeah, that's why I love to do photography too, because it's like so challenging. It can be, you have to challenge yourself too, but yeah, I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, and it was just something little, and I was like, but I learned something. I'm like, cool, now I know for next time. But yeah, I mean, let's see, what's been my favorite shoots? We did a great shoot I did a great shoot with my kids. I did this whole, like, I shot him and Roby and Dante they were my 3 favorite projects of 2016. And then I did on top of that, I did like a big write-up for We Out Here too. So it was, and how I got laid it out looked really great. So that was one of my favorite, like, you know, like photo shoots that I did, and then like articles that I dropped. So I do that too. The Women of Color project has been amazing. I did like one of my biggest group photos. That was challenging too, to get like 15 ladies together and be like, listen. It's always challenging, and like I've just never shot that many people together. So, but they turn out amazing and beautiful. So, but yeah, I mean, I think yeah, sometimes I'll be like, I'll be unsure. I still get nervous. I'm like, I just want the shoot to look great, and then it'll end up being great. And sometimes it's me and the person having to get comfortable. Because sometimes too, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go. And then sometimes the first 10 shots, I'm like, and then I get it. And then I'm like, ooh, now we got this. That's
what's up. We've been talking a lot about the work that you've done in Portland, with the Portland hip hop scene and women of color here in Portland. But you've also shot outside of Portland.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you'll pop up with some photos down south in Cali.
Yeah. I have a couple of really good friends out there in Oakland, and so in LA. Well, Glenn Waco's in LA now. So, but actually, I haven't even got to visit him down there. But just networking. Also Seattle. I go up there and see Gifted Gab, and I've shot some stuff up there. She is like one of the first artists too that really was like pretty big, that let me shoot her, and I was like, didn't know what I was doing yet. So I really give her like props for that, because she didn't have to do that, and she really let me like figure it out through her, and I was like, thanks, man, because I was still really new, but and now we're like really good friends. So I think too, with all this, I think you have to be really like authentic, your authentic self, and really humble, and really, I'm just like, I think I'm really sweet and nice, and like people see that, and so they automatically are like drawn to me. So it's like, yeah.
Well, it's I would agree with that, because it's been, for me personally, it's been a great pleasure to just watch your growth through the scene, and you have always been so welcoming and inviting, and just excited about what you're doing. And I think that's contagious. When people are around you, they get that positive
Karma
energy
always
off you.
says you're so passionate. I'm very passionate about whatever I'm doing. I'm like super passionate.
And then I gotta think of when this was. I feel like it was I feel like I learned about it at one night at Mic Check. So I feel like it was in the fall, where you expanded your activities once again from photographer and writer to DJ. What?
Yes.
What?
That's something, oh my goodness. That's a funny story too. Basically, I was like, yo, Karma, you got a DJ? And she was like, no. She's like, you want to be my DJ? And I was like, yeah. And then
just like that.
I just love Karma. She's so, man. just her stage presence is just so demanding. I love that. She walks in there and like she's got everybody in her hand, and she just demands the crowd, and she is so passionate, and I think she has so much potential. So I was like, you got to practice, because I all my dude friends, I watched what they're doing, and they practice for the other show, and they got this DJ that they can practice with and all this. So I'm like, I'll do it. So we had our first show, oh my gosh, at Ron Thompson, and it was so crazy and so lit. And I'm like her hype lady, super hype lady. We didn't know, like, we practiced, but we didn't really have any like set plans, and I ended up getting on the microphone and like kind of backing her, and it was amazing. It went amazing.
But see, wait. For all the listeners, y'all don't know how much growth that is, because like we talked about at the beginning, when you and I first met, you were not trying to talk on anybody's microphone,
right?
So to hear now that you're on stage, and that's the other thing, like if people look at again, watching your photo journey, I remember we'd always see these shots that you were taking. And I remember the very first time I saw a photo of you, which was dope. So it's cool to just see how you're blossoming within the art that you're creating.
It's been very empowering. I think I used to be like, I wouldn't even want to go on the stage, because I was like, everybody's looking at me, and I'm like, Renee, they're looking at the artist, but I would be like, I just don't want people. And now I'm like, so not. It was very intimidating. I was like, I don't want to be on the stage. I wouldn't want to tell people to get out of the way, and now people, they know. They're like, oh, here comes Renee, get out of the way. Like, there's no, that's like a cool feeling. But it's still funny. I still get awkward sometimes. But man, I had two friends that came up to me after the show, and they were like, seriously said they teared, because they're like so proud of me, because I just totally came out of my shell and like killed it. And I know it's, as like I said again, I watch people all the time do this, so I knew what to do. I maybe got some inspiration from Dre Slaps, because he's like the littest DJ, him and Verbs. I'm like, I love it. They're so into their artists that they're DJing for, and I'm like, it's gotta be like that.
Yeah.
So
that's what's up, man. So is there an opportunity that people probably get an opportunity to hear this first part of May? Is there an opportunity for people to see you and Karma do your thing?
Yeah, we have one show coming up, like when is that? 26th. That's going to be at Holocene, and it's like with a Chicago artist that's coming down, and Vinny Dwayne, and then Vaughn, who's Brown Alice.
Okay, yep.
And is there one more person, or is that it? I'll be DJing for her for that show. That's going to be a great show.
Okay.
That's going to be great.
Sounds
it's
like
all lady lineup except for Vinny, which is funny but cool.
Yeah.
He's Chicago. She's Chicago.
Right,
so,
right.
And then Karma is doing a live band set at the end of the month, which I'm super excited for her.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great change up, I think, of everything, just doing something different. And so, that's good.
Once again, just growth of an artist.
Yep.
Which
and
is
just,
dope to see.
So that's the works
cool.
right now.
That's really cool. And you've had your share of setbacks early on. If I recall, in building your portfolio, really building your skills as a photographer, where your camera just walked away.
Yeah. I got my camera stolen. There's still, like, I think as an artist too, you still always, there's self-confidence, always a struggle of like, oh man, is this good enough? My other suggestion is too, is like, if you love your work and you love it and you're proud of it and you put all your effort into it and you did your best, that's like what the most you can do. And so like, for me, it's like, not looking at the likes or like all that. It's like, if I love this picture and it means something to me, then that's all that matters to me, and just put it out there. Because some people are, it's hard for them to put their work out because they're afraid. They're like, what if? But there's always gonna be people that don't like your stuff, no matter what. There just is. So I would just say that too, like, just put it out there, and if you love it and it means something to you, then it's gonna work out. So
it's great to hear you say that, because we do live in a society right now where oftentimes what we're doing for the likes or for the follows, and it's really something that we have to unlearn almost, because of all the great tools that we have building community. That's a part of it. But like you talked about at the beginning of the interview, I mean, you grew to a certain level of confidence in yourself, and then you add that to your passion. That now you can move beyond that. excuse me. One of the other things that I know you enjoy doing is sharing your, not just the finished work, but your journey, which is a part of what we're doing here.
Yeah.
But you're also doing some instruction with some little tiny people.
Because I love working with the youth, and I just want to inspire people too. Like that's, if I can do anything, it's like I want to help people and make a change in the world and inspire people to just do like what they love and to follow their dreams, because you can do it. And I know people say that all the time, but it's really true. But you just have to work really hard. So, I've been doing some like teaching work, teaching media, which is like also like a huge, it's just huge to me. And I hope to like reach out to, like youth that really maybe wouldn't get the opportunity to use like a really nice camera, because that is like, it's a difficult at like 34 years old almost, like to get a really nice camera is like, that's a lot, that's a big chunk of change that you're trying to get. So like I would love to down the road to like get just like a program where I'm like going into schools and getting those cameras into those kids' hands, and they can just use it and just see that they can, and they can self teach themselves too, because everything I've done is self-taught. I haven't gone to school for this. So just I want to inspire them to be like, I can do that too, and YouTube. Yep. YouTube is huge. Yep, you can literally learn anything on YouTube, I swear. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, and I think that's, you share that, and I think that that's a valuable thing to for people to hear, that you were passionate about something, you took it upon yourself to just go and try it, and without a lot of formal training. And you've talked about, even after the fact, off air, you talked about the fact that you do value education, that
yes.
you do feel that is valuable, but also knowing that through that process, you mentioned it, you're not letting things get in your way, you're pushing through a lot of the obstacles.
I would say just like for college education is key, just for like little things that you might not like get to learn if you're self-teaching yourself, but and also some jobs you will just get higher pay because of your college background, but you could do both, but it's like really, I think just self-teaching is so empowering, and you'll empower yourself. So, but I think going to school for it too is just like you'll get those little things that you need. So, yeah.
So you mentioned it a bit without getting anyone in trouble. Being a female photographer in the world of hip hop can be interesting.
Very interesting.
So you got to tell me a story. Like I said, without we'll hold any names, Renee, because
I mean, I'll say one thing for sure. I had other male photographers just step right in front of me as I'm taking a shot, and I'm like, really? Excuse me? And then just now I'll be like, get out of the way, like with no remorse. I'm like, no, that people don't even dare do that at this point. But so I feel like with that, I've opened some doors for women. It's just always interesting in a male dominated situation, and that's hip hop. So, some guys think that you're there just so you can like hang out, and I proved that I was very professional and I was talented. I'm not just there to like, I have talent. So you better respect that. So.
And to exude that confidence in any situation, I think you garner respect from people in doing that. So being, if I'm understanding what you're saying, going into any situation, go in knowing why you're there, go in there to do the job. And you mentioned being professional, and I think even in a situation like that where people are there to entertain and have a good time, you're there to do a job. So do the job. I know that it's always cool to watch you work, to watch, once the lights come on and the sound starts, to just watch how busy you are on the stage, in the crowd, getting all of these different shots. At the end of the night, you must just be worn. I mean, because you're in a sense, you're working just as hard as the performers on stage.
Yes, sometimes my back, I'm like, oh, my back. But I get, I get so into it that people sometimes they'll be like, I want to say hi to you, but you were so into it that I didn't even want to disrupt you. You were just in it. Like, and I think that's what people love too. They see how passionate I am about it and like how into it I am. I'm just in. Like once I'm in there, it's like everything kind of disappears. And I just, I'm so, and like that's hard for me to focus. I think the only other time was really, I used to be a runner and I could really focus when I was running. I'd be like really into it. But I haven't really found that since then, till now with photography. So awesome. I'm all, you gotta move. You gotta be behind the artist, in front of the artist, to the left, to the right, like in the crowd shots. You gotta move because you need all kinds of different shots.
The so like I said, this will probably drop in May.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like 2017 is going to be a pretty good year for you,
Yes.
pretty busy year for you.
Yes.
If you do have any free time and people want to reach out to you just to build, what's the best way to do that?
I would say email. So it's misslopezmedia@gmail.com, and it's MISS. Another great place to follow me is on my Instagram, because I'm always posting my work on there, and that's also MISS Lopez Media. And my website, which is misslopezmedia.com.
Okay.
So,
word.
yeah.
On the website, do you have a store up yet?
I don't.
Okay.
I need to, because
Okay.
I have been selling that kind of was another one that I was surprised. That was surprising.
Yeah.
I made some hats. I did not know if and people loved them.
Yep.
Well, shouts out to Alex, because he killed my logo. Man, he's another
I'm telling
grinder.
you, he does all. He's done all my work.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
He is so amazing. He's a Gemini too. We're Geminis.
Oh, that's what's up.
I'm just gonna say that. Geminis are grinders. Blossom's a Gemini. Just saying. Yeah, people were about that, and I was like, whoa, that's cool. That's another thing that I'm probably going to be in the works, is coming out with some new merch, because it's way more popular than I thought it would be, so, which is cool.
Yeah.
I never thought people would want to wear my logo. I'm like, that's so cool.
Oh my gosh. Well, I think it fits. It fits what you're doing. I think it fits who you are. And the logo, like when I first saw the logo, I was like, it was probably not too long after I saw your logo, I literally hit Alex up and I was like, "Yo, I need a new logo," because it is really, really cool. And it's cool it's cool to see it incorporated in some of the work that you've done. To see some of the artists wearing
yeah.
I think one of the cool things that you said before we turn the mics on is, as you have been on your journey doing work here in Portland, and like you said, open some doors for folk that you've even said, you want to create space now for people to come in and maybe move into some of the spaces that you've been holding down for a while.
I think that's really important. If you're, I wouldn't say, I feel like an OG first in some ways, but not OG of like I have OGs above me. But I think it's important to like let other people come up to. You can't hold that space forever. That's not like, you just can't. Because somebody younger, I feel like, is gonna just come with some new creativity or whatever, and like also it's like you gotta let other people come up too. Definitely, 2017 is gonna be about like prioritizing and figuring out what projects I'm gonna keep continuing on, and then maybe letting some other people take over some other things, because I can't do everything.
Right.
I would love to maybe to have some interns or something, because I would love to mentor some youth. I've done that a little bit, and that would be so great. And it would be like, yo, you guys can cover this for me, and then But yeah, you gotta let other people come up for sure.
Yeah. And the nice thing about it is, though, as you mentioned, as more time-consuming opportunities are presenting themselves for you, that may be, again, another opportunity for you to pave the way for people to come in through.
Yeah.
So I think that's really dope that you have that in mind as you're working on building your own career.
Yeah, definitely. Really, I mean, because I'm so about the community. Yeah. I want them to come up just as much as me, like us together. So, yeah.
That's what's up, man. Miss Lopez Media, my friend Renee. It's like I said, this has been a long time coming. So I'm glad I caught you now, because I feel like pretty soon it's going to be harder to catch up with you with this, which is as much as you got going on right now. So thank you. Thank you very much for coming through, man.
Always, man.
Miss Lopez Media on social media, and of course misslopezmedia.com. Be on the look for some exciting new stuff. Be on the look for some new merch, and we just want to continue to support what you're doing, man. Support you on your journey. I think that's. I think it's cool to see how you had a passion, had a dream, followed your dream, and now it's turned into something tangible. So congratulations.
So cool.
Yeah. All right, y'all. It's another episode of Klyph Notes. Once again, remember you can subscribe on whatever your podcast catcher of choice is. Support my friend for sure, Miss Lopez, and just continue to build this community like we've been talking about in a very, very tangible way. Remember to catch me every Saturday night on X-Ray FM. Welcome to the neighborhood with some of your favorite guests and brand new music. And then once again, go check out my man DJ OG1's GoFundMe. It's GoFundMe DJ OG, the number 1. All right, God bless you all. Until we get a chance to do this again, peace.